All right, guys. Well, I'm back today to discuss hub compatibility on suppressors, everything about the different options that you can attach to a hub compatible suppressor, and why I've personally chosen hub compatible suppressors moving forward to add to my personal collection. For YouTube purposes, all of these were purchased legally, all of the forms were filled out correctly, everything was approved. We are not disassembling anything, we are not building anything. This is merely my opinions and a little bit of industry knowledge on the hub compatibility of suppressors. And let's start with that definition. Hub. That stands for Hybrid Universal Base, which is the thread pitch that is going to be found on a hub-compatible suppressor on the rearward most portion of the suppressor where you can thread in different adapters. Now, there's a lot of different options out there for hubs, which we'll talk about in a second, but the threads for the hub are actually 1.375 by 24, also 1 3/8 by 24 threads per inch, and that is going to be a great industry standard across the board. What you're looking at here is a few YHM cans that are all hub compatible, Otter Creek Labs, Aero Precision with their new 308 cans, and I mean a ton of other cans on the market are going to be hub compatible, but you'll want to check for that, and that means that end adapter actually unthreads, leaving exposed those hub compatible threads, which we talked about earlier, the 1.375 by 24. Now, why would you want to do this? And that's simply because of versatility. There are companies on the market like KAK Industries that actually pins and welds a hub muzzle device on the end of 14.5 barrels, meaning you can actually remove any adapters whatsoever and simply thread in an actual hub compatible suppressor directly onto that, really shortening the overall length and not adding extra length for different hubs. Now, you can also get different hubs if you're very familiar with the ever popular Chemo brake or Key Micro brakes. You can buy a dead air Chemo hub compatible mount to use on all of those, and it simply threads into the back of one of the hub compatible cans. Now, there's always going to be variances in the blast baffle size and the length of that, but honestly, everything I've ever tried just threads right in with no issues whatsoever. You can also do direct thread mounts for a hub compatible suppressor like 1/2 by 28 or 5/8 by 24, allowing you to just simply directly thread this onto a 300 blackout 5.56, 9mm, whatever you want. Obviously, making sure the bore size and rating of your can is acceptable for the platform you're going to put it on. You also see here an AAC 51 tooth hub. So all of those AAC 51 tooth pinned and welded muzzle devices, you can thread that into the back of a hub compatible can. You can even do tri-lug hub adapters. So this is an R45, but it's actually rated for 5.56 and 308, but it is a 45 cal can. I've directly threaded into the hub compatibility section of the suppressor a tri-lug mount, so you can click and run this can on now a tri-lug gun like an MP5 or any of the tri-lug adapters you've added. There's also a really cool new adapter from B&T, which is their Rotex SF attachment. This actually locks up to any of the Rotex flash hiders as well as some of the Surefire SOCOM muzzle devices, and this works out great too. So you can transform a high-value YHM can that generally costs $5 or $6 and attach it to a now Surefire muzzle device, or you can attach it to a Chemo muzzle device or an AAC, or the options are limitless when it comes to hub compatibility, and that's why I'm recommending them for the future. A lot of times people will go with direct thread cans because it's pretty easy to attach them, but so many companies now are offering hub compatibility with the ability to utilize direct threads. Or a lot of companies like PSA, who I recently did a video on, are pin and welding different muzzle devices to 13.5 or 13.7 and 14.5 inch barrels, allowing to be overall length of 16 inches. But those muzzle devices are permanently attached, and you may find a good deal and want to buy it, but you don't want to swap out your cans or completely overhaul what you're doing. You can simply, if your can is hub compatible, grab the new adapter, thread it on, and you'll be good to go. A lot of times all of the tools are included in the packaging, so you don't really need to do anything special. You can add a little rock set or Loctite if you know you're going to be permanently attaching them, but honestly, I just torque everything down to the correct torque specs that are found in the manufacturer's packaging, and I've had no issues whatsoever. So I hope this gives you an overview of hub compatibility, what that means, and why I personally have chosen hub compatible suppressors moving forward across the board for all of my rifle cans. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.